Hello, I'm Danielle Merfeld, Chief Technology Officer for GE Renewable Energy, and I'm joined here today by Head of Innovation of Enel Green Power, Nicola Rossi. I'm very excited to have you together with me today. Important conversation for us to have around energy transition. And from a GE Renewable Energy perspective, part of how we're approaching this is really working with our customers and understanding how we can best support our customers throughout this transition. So let me just start by asking you a question about what does the energy transition really mean to you and to Enel Green Power? What's at stake?
Thanks, Daniel. Very pleased to be here with you today. I would say that energy transition is an unavoidable journey towards decarbonization. This is something we need. We need for our planet, we need for the people, we need for the economy. So there is a lot of value related to energy transition. And there are two main triggers in the energy transition we see. The first is electrification of consumptions, and the other one is the decarbonization of the power generation. These two triggers are both important. One, I would say, we'll see it more in the next decade, and it is electrification. Electrification is something that is already happening, but is going to happen more and more in the coming years. In the next decade, let's say. Renewable generation or power decarbonization is something that we have seen very much in the last decade, and is today something that is happening mainly for economical reasons. It's an important point to me. This transition is not something that is happening only because we need it from an environmental point of view. But what I think is that decarbonized electricity is something that is coming because it's providing benefits for customers and for people. Benefits in terms of cost, benefits in terms of stability of cost. So decarbonized electricity is safe, is affordable, is reliable, is also able to provide high-tech and high-quality services to customers. And this is really why it is happening, this transition. And as in Enel, we have, ambitious targets that we increasingly make more and more ambitious during time. So in the last Capital Market Day, we have announced the full decarbonization of our fleet by 2040, 10 years before what we announced just 1 year ago. And in terms of new capacity installation, this year we installed 5 gigawatts of additional capacity, of renewable additional capacity. And we are planning to install 100 gigawatts of additional renewable capacity by 2030. So very challenging targets that we continuously review in order to make them even more challenging in the future. And I think this transition will require a lot of change also in our mentality, continuous change. I mean, we need to be fast, we need to be smart, we need to be humble in the sense that we need to quickly understand our mistakes and learn from our mistakes. But we need also to be courageous. And I was telling you, we need to review continuously our targets and to increase them. And in one word, we need to stay and to act as a startup while increasing our dimensions. I think it will be very key to be successful in this transition.
It's been impressive to see the ambition, as you just were stating, how fast things can change and how Enel Green Power is pushing the envelope of that adoption and change, and also how we can be more sustainable and more efficient in that growth of clean electric power for this broadening electrification around the world. It's great to be working with you in this and to think about how these changes happen in an ecosystem. They have to happen at the same time. We create more efficient, sustainable products that create a more efficient and sustainable, world and use case. It's been nice. So what are the key challenges to overcome as we move towards this energy transition and think about all the moving parts? What's the hardest piece?
I think there are a number of challenges. The first for sure will be time. So we have this big constraint, a limited time to do this transition. And I think that the next 10 years will be key. The second challenge is more related to the necessity to simplify the processes. It is something that is required internally to the companies, but also externally. So we need clear rules, we need clear governance in order to make this transition possible in the required time. I would say the third is that this transition needs to be just. Okay, so we cannot do this transition just forgetting about people. We need to have people on board. We need to think about reskilling people in order to create the jobs and the expertise we need to do this transition. So people is core in this transition, will be core in this transition. People involvement, people participation, people, let's say, engagement. Okay, so that's really key. And I think that people is also a limiting factor of this transition. We need people to do this transition because it's very challenging to implement this transition in a so limited period of time. Innovation is for sure a way to accelerate the transition. So will be key to innovate in order to be able to do this transition. And I see innovation at different levels. I see innovation at technology level, even if I think we will need to lever on existing technologies that are available today. I'm thinking to PV solar, I'm thinking to wind, I'm thinking to batteries and to energy storage. To do this transition, at least in the next 10 years. Anyway, we have a lot of innovation that we can implement even in these technologies to make them more efficient, more reliable, and thinking to the value chain end to end, not only to the power generation part of the value chain, but also to the supply chain, everything end to end. We need to innovate in the field of processes. I have said before, process simplification, and this will require new technology to be implemented. Let's think to digital technologies. Digital technologies will be a key lever to make our processes simple, leveraging on new technologies. We need to innovate at the business model level. And thinking, for example, to circularity and sustainability, we need to foster sustainability and circularity on the overall value chain, end to end. And we will to innovate at people level. So we need new skills. We will to create and to train new people, new job and new competencies in order to be able to do this transition. And again, digitalization is something that gives me the possibility to explain this concept. We will need people able to use digital technologies in order to do their jobs in a different way, more effective. So we do not see digitalization in order to avoid people. We need digitalization to make people working on what is really added value job and leave the basic activities at digital tools and technology that can support in doing that job. So that's why in Enel we speak about innovability and not just innovation, because we see sustainability as the final target to reach, and we see innovation as the way to achieve sustainability, working on all the different dimensions I have mentioned before.
I'm smiling because, as you were mentioning, a lot of these drivers for how you see the challenges and how Enel Green Power will overcome them, there's such alignment with how we also think about innovation and people. Specifically, you mentioned how we have to use the technologies. Speed is important. We use the technologies we have and we build for the future. We very much believe that we have to be able to take technologies that exist today and maximize, improve processes to get them into the field faster, while we also think about using digital innovation at its core, not just to change how we operate, maintain those systems in the field, but even revolutionize how we manufacture them to create more capability with less materials, better jobs, more quickly bringing these technologies to market in a way that's more sustainable and more circular from a product perspective. And I think you touched on it perfectly when you talked about people. It's a culture. We have to maintain the culture where the people's role is valued, their work is fulfilling, and they're doing something so good in the world, because that's what motivates us all, I think. So that's fantastic to hear how much in alignment we are. So how are we, whether it's GE, Enel Green Power, all of the clean energy players, how can we make this happen successfully?
I think working together. Okay, so the key word here is openness, collaboration, because the challenge we have in front of us is so complex And the time is so small that if we do not cooperate, is impossible to reach and to do real this transformation reality. So I think each player in this game needs to take ownership to play its role properly, and all together put our efforts in the direction to achieve the common goal we have to achieve. And this is exactly our innovation model. No? We use an open innovation model that is basically a way of working with other players, including our suppliers, our customers, institutions, universities, all the communities around us, in order to innovate together. So even the relationship between suppliers of technologies and users of technologies, I think will need to change a lot. We need to work together in a very flexible way, in a very collaborative way, in a more open way in the future, in order together to solve our challenges and create value for both of us.
And I think you modeled this well, this idea of coming together in an ecosystem approach. As you know, we are suppliers of yours, we have suppliers of ours. Everyone has to decide together collectively that we're going to do this together. And I think it's the only way that it will be successful. I completely agree. So this really speaks to me, just in sum, that not only is the speed going to be very important here, but the only way to reach this energy transition successfully in the time frame that matters is to have the entire ecosystem of players working collectively and collaboratively, and expanding beyond traditional ecosystems for energy. Our customers, our suppliers, our partners, but also the communities, the employees, and the communities that they come from, to make sure that this is truly inclusive, to match this pace faster than any energy transition we've experienced in the past. Has to be including everyone that can be involved to make sure that we go collectively as fast as possible. So it's a good thing we're in this together. We have a lot of other players with us, and hopefully we're on the right path to succeeding together. I appreciate being able to work with you on this.
I also appreciate very much this conversation and the collaborations we are doing together. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.